In this video, I'm going to give you my quick first impression of the 2025 Triumph Tiger 900 GT Pro. I've ridden the Tiger 1200 a fair bit on and off-road over the last couple of years, and I've really enjoyed it. Of course, I have known about the Tiger 900 for a while, but I've never thrown a leg over it before. As well as this bike, Triumph have actually given us the Tiger 900 Rally Pro to ride and enjoy while we have this one. The plan is that my mate Jason and I are going to take these two bikes to Yorkshire for 5 days while we have them and put them through their paces. The cottage is booked and it's in the middle of nowhere. That'll be our base, and we'll be looping out from there every day while we're up there. Really looking forward to it. The bikes we have here are the 2025 models, but the biggest changes for this generation were actually made in 2024. I'm not going to go over every single little thing, but here's some of the significant highlights. The biggest upgrade is the engine. The 888cc triple has had a major upgrade which bumped the power up by 13%, giving it 106 brake horsepower. It's also got more torque, and it's meant to be smoother at low revs, as well as being more fuel efficient. The torque figures are 90 Newton meters or 66 foot-pounds if you're in the States. They've also made a lot of updates to the electronics. There's a new 7-inch TFT screen with an updated menu system, and they've added an emergency braking warning system too. The seat is new, it's flatter and wider, and on the Pro models it's also heated for the rider and the pillion. Handlebars have a new damping system to make the ride more comfortable. The styling is also updated, and they've changed the bodywork and given the bike a more aggressive, adventure-focused stance. So the Tiger 900 has 3 bikes in the range. It's got the GT, GT Pro, and the Rally Pro. Base model GT and the GT Pro share the same Marzocchi forks. GT Pro gets an electronically adjustable rear shock that you can change in the settings in the menu system. The Rally Pro doesn't get that. You've got to do it with your hand on that one. GT and GT Pro's suspension travel is 180mm on the front and 170mm on the rear. Rally Pro gets much more suspension travel for off-road, so it's got 240mm on the front and 230mm on the back. Front wheels on the GT and the GT Pro are 19-inch and the rear is 17. Both are made from cast aluminium on those GTs. Rally Pro has a spoked 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear wheel, which is better for off-road. Oh, and the Rally Pro's handlebars are positioned 15mm closer to you, which makes it easier to handle when you're standing up on the pegs. And for the rest of the features, both the GT Pro and the Rally Pro get a bunch of other stuff that the base GT doesn't get. So with the Pros, you get Triumph Shift Assist for clutchless gear changes, heated grips and seats, and a tyre pressure monitoring system as standard. They also get extra riding modes. The Rally Pro gets sump guard and engine protection, as well as different looking gear and brake levers. Probably a few other differences I'll find out in the coming weeks too. The Rally Pro can be spec'd up with more off-road tyres, which I'd usually request from a manufacturer when we're arranging press bikes. But I asked if the Rally Pro could come with its road tyre option, so we can really compare the two bikes like for like on the road. I'll be giving the Rally Pro a try off-road, but those tyres look very limiting for off-road work in anything too serious. So this is my first impression of the GT Pro. I haven't ridden the other one yet, but I wanted to leave it until I got to know this one a bit better. I always find it interesting to see a bike in the flesh compared to seeing it in a photo or video. You see things very differently when you look at them in person with your own eyeballs. When Steve delivered the bikes to me, he wheeled out the green one off the truck first, which is a Triumph colour I'm familiar with. Then the white one came off and it just popped in the sun. The colour of this bike is Snowdonia white and sapphire black. They also do 3 other colours of this bike and 5 other colours of the Rally Pro. The colour of the Rally Pro is matte khaki green and phantom black. I've seen the bike before a lot, but it's always lovely to have a good look around a brand new, perfectly detailed press bike like this one. Jumping on the bike, the seat feels firm, wide and comfortable. The tank feels good between my legs and the riding position is upright and neutral. Reach to the bars is good for me. I'm 6'1" with a 32-inch inseam and long arms and legs. This is going to sound weird, but my main apprehension with this bike is that I wouldn't be able to ride it softly like a big trail bike or a sedate tourer. I guess because the engine's a Triumph triple, I felt I'd need to get on it and ride it hard to enjoy it. Not the case. The exhaust note is actually fairly quiet, and within minutes of taking off, I was putting down the road, looking at things and enjoying myself. So I can take it easy on this bike. When you're riding the bike, the engine feels revvy and you can tell it really wants to go. Revs build quickly when you're accelerating and even blipping the throttle between the gears when you're changing down. You can feel it really revving quick. I've only ridden a few bikes in the past with quick shifters and have always defaulted to using the clutch because I think my riding's smoother when I do. Will this be the bike to change me? I don't know. Handling is also good. It's not the quickest steerer I've ridden, but it responds well when you move your body weight around on the seat. I ride with the balls of my feet on the pegs as a neutral position and nothing got in the way, like it sometimes can on bikes that aren't thought out that well. I did a few motorway miles on the bike and I noticed I was getting blown around a bit, more than I usually would, but maybe it was a slightly windier day, not sure. On the way home, I started to rev the engine a bit and my God, it's got some, and it revs all the way up to 9,500. The bike's got various riding modes and I mainly just stuck to road today and really enjoyed it. I delved into the menu system today and adjusted the preload within the menu for rider and luggage. Spring rates seem good for my rider weight of 93.5 kgs, and the forks and the shock stay fairly up high in the travel when you're going over rough ground. Damping feels good, and I have seen the forks can be adjusted up the front here. As I've said, the shocks preload can be adjusted in the menu system on the GT Pro, which I like for on-the-fly adjustments. Front though, not electronic suspension and just standard clickers to adjust the damping. I did notice the changes that you make in the menu system do make a big difference to the way the shock works. On some bikes, sometimes they don't. Screen looks like it has different positions and I tried for 2 seconds to make it move but I couldn't, so I left it. So I'll be checking if that works later on. Brakes feel strong and tyres feel sticky in the turns, although it was dry today, so most setups would feel good today. I noticed the gear shifter is quite small for my size 12 boots and I'll need to be adjusting that up. The radiators are up the front here and you can feel hot air from them blowing on your knees as you're riding along. Probably not an issue in colder climates, but if you live in a hot climate, maybe this would be annoying. So what now? From here, I'm going to do the standard things like adjusting up the position of everything so it suits me. I've seen that the seat is adjustable for height, so I'll be checking to make sure it's in the highest position. Gear shift is something I really need to make feel right for my foot. And I'll be checking the rider sag and static sag of the suspension to see how close to perfect I can get the bike in its stock form. As I've said, the damping can be adjusted in the menu system on the bike, but I've also seen that forks have adjusters on them, so I'll be adjusting those as I go along to see what difference they make. I guess the big question here is, which is the better bike? Although on paper they seem a bit different, in reality, is there much difference between the two? We're going to find out on a trip. That's it. Thanks for watching.